A tragedy in 5 stars. My week in hell at Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris. Oh, my darlings, gather close, let me tell you a tale so wretched, so unjust, that even the rats in the alleyways would weep for me. I, a delicate blossom of refined taste, and let us be honest, unreasonable standards, ventured to Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris expecting luxury. What I received, a masterclass in suffering. Day 1. The betrayal begins. I arrive at checks watch 10 p.m. exhausted, starving, my stomach growling like a feral beast. Surely, I think, a 5-star establishment will have something for weary travelers. Ha! The receptionist, a man whose soul had clearly been replaced with wet cardboard, shrugs. Kitchen closed, breakfast at 7. 7 hours away. I am not a peasant, I do not wait for food, this is not the Ritz. This is torture. And the room, a closet with delusions of grandeur, the walls so close I could high-five myself without extending my arm. The AC, a cruel joke, it only works if the 1 key card, yes, 1 for 2 people because logic is plugged in. So you leave, no air, you stay, no air, it's like they want you to melt into a puddle of despair. Day 2, the food crimes breakfast. Oh, breakfast. Imagine the saddest buffet you've ever seen, remove all flavor, warmth and joy. Congealed eggs, bread harder than my grandmother's Soviet-era morals. No live cooking station, a 5-star sin, just sad trays of regret. Lunch, the same, dinner, the same. By day 3, I am convinced the chef's only seasoning is tears. And the order-sitter staff hovering, rushing us from tables mid-bite like we were trespassing in our own paid-for vacation. One waiter actually scoffed when I asked for a second fork. A fork? Am I a beggar? Day 3, the spa incident, a horror story. I book the deluxe couples package. Foolish, foolish me. The therapist eyes my stomach and asks, "Are you pregnant?" Excuse me, I am soft, I am feminine. I am not a medical mystery to be diagnosed by a stranger. Then the abandonment. A face mask left on for 25 minutes promised. 7, I peek out, therapists are on their phones, giggling like this is not my villain origin story. And the massage, the therapist mounts my husband like a horse. No warning, no consent, just full rodeo. We leave traumatized. Day 4, the pool of sorrow, the pool, a puddle overcrowded, sunless, colder than my ex's heart. Sunbeds, a Hunger Games situation, towels out by 6 a.m. or perish. The private beach. Shared with another hotel, packed tighter than a Moscow metro at rush hour. Day 5, the final insult, my boyfriend gets spiked at the bar. We call reception, 20 minutes of silence. They finally arrive, shrug and say, "What do you want us to do?" Ah yes, the 5-star emergency response, indifference.
You know, I've been looking into crimes near Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris, and it's just so sad, like there are so many scams and frauds happening around there. Businesses near Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris are like super good at taking advantage of tourists. Like they think they can just charge you whatever they want and you'll pay it 'cause you're on vacation. There was this incident where tourists were overcharged for drinks at bars and clubs in central Marmaris. They'd show you one price, and then when it's time to pay, it's like 5 times more. And if you don't want to pay, the bouncers would be all aggressive and stuff. I mean, can you believe that? Like, who does that? Probably the tourists were so scared and intimidated, they just paid and left, and the scammers got away with it. And then there are these street vendors and shops near Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris who would show you one price, and then when you go to pay, it's a different price. They'd be like, "Oh, you didn't understand, it's plus tax or something." And if you question them, they'd get all loud and try to make you feel embarrassed. I think probably the tourists felt so pressured, they just paid and left feeling ripped off. Like, why would you do that to someone? There was this one jewelry shop in Meller near Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris where they'd sell you a gold bracelet and then swap it with a fake one when you weren't looking. The tourist only found out when they got home. Can you imagine? Like, you're so excited to show off your new bracelet and it's just fake. The police probably had a hard time catching the scammers because it happened behind the counter and the CCTV footage was unclear. Like, what kind of person does that? And oh man, these shops near Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris that sell designer goods at special prices, they're just selling you fake stuff. When you go back to complain, they're like, "Sorry, no returns." Some tourists even said they were threatened with the police if they didn't leave the store. Like, who does that? I think probably the tourists were so angry and disappointed, they just left and the scammers got away with it again. Then, there are these pharmacies near Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris that would charge tourists way more for medication than they should. Sometimes the medication wasn't even real. Like, what kind of person takes advantage of someone who's sick or hurt? The authorities were investigating, but like, what's the point? The scammers probably just got away with it again. It's just like so sad, you know, these businesses near Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris, they're just taking advantage of tourists who are trying to have a good time. They're ruining their vacation, and it's just not right. Like, can't we all just be honest and kind to each other? The dark side of businesses near Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris. Businesses near Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris are not just disappointing, they are a masterclass in how to ruin a vacation. From food poisoning to scams, aggression to outright theft, this area has perfected the art of making tourists regret their choices. Let's start with Blue Port, a place that should be a shopping and dining paradise but instead feels like a trap. The restaurants here have a reputation for serving more than just food. Some guests left with food poisoning, like one visitor who spent 2 days violently regretting their meal. The arcade, a lesson in frustration. Machines turn off mid-game, credits vanish, and staff couldn't care less. Then there's the shopping experience, overpriced, repetitive, and occasionally hostile. Tourists report SIM card scams, stolen phone parts, and shopkeepers who seem to think haggling means, "How much can I rob you for?" If you think the shopping is bad, wait until you hear about Grand Bazaar. This isn't the charming, bustling market you imagine. It's a minefield of pushy sellers, inflated prices, and outright intimidation. One visitor described being physically grabbed when they tried to walk away. Another was charged double on their card and had to argue just to get what they actually ordered. And if you dare use a shop's toilet without realizing there's a hidden fee, good luck escaping without a confrontation. Now, let's talk about Green Nature Diamond Hotel, which should be a luxurious retreat but is more like a 5-star prison. Guests report stained bedding, cracked walls, and ants crawling on the floors because nothing says relaxation like sharing your room with insects. The staff, rude at best, openly hostile at worst. One family was kicked out in the middle of a thunderstorm after complaining about unsafe conditions. Another guest was told the hotel manager would not speak to them because apparently customer service is optional here. Hungry. Taj Mahal promises authentic Indian cuisine but delivers something closer to airplane food reheated in a microwave. Diners complain about bland, overpriced dishes that taste like they were scraped from the bottom of a freezer. One reviewer, actually from Pakistan, called it an insult to Indian cuisine. And if you ask for non-spicy food, expect it to arrive flaming hot because listening is not their strong suit. Then there's Bono Good Times Beach, where the only good time is leaving. Wait times for food are longer than some marriages, and when it finally arrives, you might wish you de-skipped it. Several guests ended up with food poisoning. The service? Non-existent unless you count being ignored or, in one case, physically threatened when a manager grabbed a customer's face and demanded full payment for a terrible experience. And if you're looking for nightlife, Club Areena is less party and more predatory. Tourists report scams where they're forced to pay twice for drinks, intimidation tactics, and even harassment. One guest described being surrounded by staff and marched to an ATM under threat. The music might be loud, but the real soundtrack is the sound of your wallet screaming. So, what's the verdict? The businesses near Lalila Blue Suites Marmaris treat tourists not as guests, but as walking ATMs. Whether it's bad food, aggressive scams, or outright neglect, the pattern is clear. This area thrives on squeezing money out of visitors while offering as little as possible in return. If you're staying here, bring patience, a strong stomach, and maybe a bodyguard. Better yet, venture further out because the best thing about these businesses is leaving them behind.